Williams at her peak. I don't need conditions, I don't need qualifications.
Not this time, though. That's all done.
Best of all times.
When she's down, it's amazing. It's like this light goes on. You can just see it in her face. You can see it in her walk. You can see it in her posture. I'm not losing this match.
3 majors, 53-3. That must have been this phenomenal year. And it was, but there was a lot packed into that.
There were times when she was sick. There were times when she was injured.
There were matches when mentally she had to check back in. And I think the way she handles her celebrity, I think the way she handles her place in the sport, I think the way she handles herself, candidly, as an African-American woman.
That's a gorgeous moment.
She has a set of challenges and a set of pressures that follow her around that are completely unique, certainly in tennis. I would even make the case in all of sport.
It all comes right in the end.
Winning that second Serena Slam was crazy because it's just hard to do.
Grand Slam champion for the 21st time.
And I never thought I would have an opportunity to win on all 4 surfaces, hold all Grand Slam trophies at my house again.
And I hope this doesn't get lost. There were matches when she played at an unbelievably high level. And one match that sticks out to me, the Australian Open final, she plays Maria Sharapova, who notionally anyway is her rival. Match point, tight match, Serena hits an ace.
As if we hadn't had enough drama.
Basically, do-over. You know, you hit the field goal, but they called timeout. Go back and line up the field goal again. Serena walks back, takes a deep breath, goes back to the exact same spot. And hits the exact same serve to the exact same point on the court.
Was it a let? No, you're the champion.
She was called for a hindrance during that final against Maria Sharapova.
Hindrance.
And it was fascinating because it does speak to her growth. 3-4 years ago, and I think a lot of people remember this, at the US Open, there was a hindrance call.
Well, they're gonna have to play a let there.
And she lost it.
Serena's accusing her of doing this to her before.
This year when I got that hindrance call,
Lots of points.
I just kind of laughed it off. And that's just growth, because a few years ago I wasn't able to laugh it off. But I haven't lost that part in me. Like, I mean, if something happens, I definitely am still 100% myself. And I'm always telling people, be yourself. I'm very passionate on the court. I give absolutely 100% with every single point that I play, everything that I do. And this is my job, you know, and if something doesn't go right that has nothing to do with me, then of course I'm going to be very passionate about it. Of course, you've experienced this before, you know, things always tend to happen to you, you know, I've been there, done that, so I felt like I've already learned from that experience, let me just try something different. And it worked, and you know, I didn't win the point, but I was able to win the match.
Unbelievable finish. You have an ace that's called a let, and you got to go back and do it again.
Look, everybody has focused, rightfully so, on her chance of winning a Grand Slam. And New York, of course, was perhaps the greatest upset in the history of tennis.
You know, her record was 53-3. And yet that hyphen in between, really, there's a lot packed into that.
She's had to go through a very strange amount of adversity. Literally, she was at war with her body.
It's those moments where I am at the French Open and I'm like sleeping in between on the breaks, just like trying to get some rest because I don't feel good. Or it's those moments where I'm cramping in the middle of Wimbledon and I can't walk, I'm crawling. You think, you know, just can't give up now. I've come too far.
Sportsperson of the Year, I think, is intentionally vague and open to interpretation. On the court, she had this peerless season. She only lost 3 matches. She won 3 majors. But there's also this social component. And I think Serena, to mix metaphors, hit it out of the park in both senses.
She's been very graceful in the spotlight, and that to me is she's grown into her role as the dominant player on the women's tour.
Ladies and gentlemen,
A big part of her year is this return to Indian Wells, where as a teenager, she was booed by an overwhelmingly white crowd. The optics were terrible. Whether it was inspired by racism or something else is almost beside the point. This was just an appalling way to teach a teenager, leaving race and gender and everything else out of the equation. It was just appalling behavior. And in 2015, she says, you know what, enough time has elapsed. It's about forgiveness. I'm going to go back to Indian Wells.
In an incredibly polarizing year in American life, racially, socially, culturally, for her to go back to Indian Wells 14 years after.
Reaction, a few boos, some applause.
Her family was absolutely, unassailably, and terribly wronged at the Indian Wells tournament. This is a woman and a figure who is trying to engage in the social issues of our time. And she's been taking civil rights courses.
Stand with the family of Freddie Gray.
She also is speaking out on Black Lives Matter. In the formulation of Walt Whitman, she contains multitudes.
She's gone to school, designed clothes. I mean, she's been a businesswoman, and she's also walked the red carpet in Hollywood. You know, she's done it all. And she had to test the waters, and she had to experiment, and she had to get out there and live life. And she did that.
I think it's significant that it's not just a sporting award, but about her evolution. She has become fully engaged in the history of the sport, fully motivated to address, run down, and surpass those numbers.
Obviously, I would be lying if I said, you know, I'm not thinking about it when I totally am. So I'm going to embrace that. And yeah, I'm thinking about the next Grand Slam and the next number that hopefully I can win and hopefully get me there.
So often you have these athletes, they come along, only after they're gone do you realize how great they were. And it was really heartening as someone who covers a sport to see that people have finally gotten it. This is a once-in-a-generation athlete, and I need to see her and support her before she retires.
Now here I am, you know, getting this award, which means so much to me, and I've come a really long way, but I never look at that way. I always look like there's still so much further for me to go and so much further that I want to go.